I'm live. So, very interesting. Very interesting stuff. Oh, yeah. Yep. Good show. Got a good show for you. That's, by the way, that's, I stole that from the black kids, black guys that are the brothers. They are hilarious. Love them. Love those guys. Those something twins. Can't remember. Anyway, all right. Well, got some of those. Got a few of them. There's some clients that want to get rid of theirs, and it's okay with me. We'll help them with that. Be more than happy to. So, waiting for a few people. Charles, see you on there. Awesome. By the way, on TikTok now, if you go to my TikTok page, there's a link to buy the book. So easy now. Hit the link, buy the book. Do it. Oh, you meant these, not the book. Well, these are quite a bit more expensive than the book. Yeah, these are pushing probably $90 now. If I had to guess, but I don't really have to guess. And the reason I don't have to guess is because you just go like this. 81.57. And you can buy them for 91.96. Wow. Holy Nikes, that's expensive. $10 over spot, but that's only if you buy 500. That's my competitor. I whoop their ass. And besides, they're not the TikTok shop. Clearly, if you're ever going to buy anything, buy it from the TikTok shop, because the TikTok shop is where smart people, good-looking people, people who know, people with wisdom. Wisdom's different than knowledge. Knowledge is knowing that tomatoes are fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put them in a fruit salad. Yes, you've heard that before. Have you also heard be a lender nor a borrower be? No, neither a lender nor a borrower be. Yes, you have heard that before. It's not biblical, but it should be. He who loans money is the master. He who borrows money is the slave. And that's a fact. So silver will now begin its ridiculous ascent again. I don't think that it'll be too outlandish. Maybe a little outlandish. But yeah, it's not going to be stalled here anymore. Now that the war is over. Did you guys hear about that? The war is over. Yep, totally over with. Imagine that. No more war. That sounds awesome. I can sell monster boxes. I don't typically because they're so darned expensive, but I could. I mean, if it's something that you really, really want, you got to have a monster box of Eagles. I can get them all day long. I try not to, because one of my clients bought a huge amount of Eagles because he knew that they would sell for more, because they obviously cost more. And then he took them in to sell a couple monster boxes so he could fund a little real estate thing he was doing real quick. And the people in the pawn shops and silver places said no. Do I think the war is over? No, I don't really think so. I mean, I hope it is. There's still some things that need to be worked out. There's a small country that's the greatest ally we've ever dreamt of. We've never even hoped for an ally as great as this ally that we have. It's about the size of my pinky finger, except they're more about the size of this finger for us. And they're absolutely not going to be done with this war. And the reason is they got nothing else. They got war and pestilence and disease and death, or that's it. There's really not much going on there. It is what they do. It's what they're best at. It's their only product, really, is death and fear. So, what can I invest in as far as real gold and silver? I'm starting from scratch. Well, then, you need to call me, and I will get you some of these bad boys at wholesale. Is that right setup? Oh, looks like a buffalo. There's a buffalo. There's a buffalo falling off a cliff. Standing up, falling. Standing, falling. And on the other side, since we really pretty much don't have any people that look like this left anymore, we decided to honor them. It's kind of what we do. Shoot you in the face, name a boulevard after you. Get rid of your people, make a coin that looks like you. Woo! That's fair, right? I'd say that's fair. Anyway, doesn't really come down to fair anymore, does it? Yeah, so it's a good time to buy silver, no question. I heard swarms of bees attacked Israel yesterday. Yes, actually, that did happen. I think it's funny. I don't know that it means that God's, if it were locusts or, if the med had turned bright red, that would be a positive thing. That would show that, look, you guys are off track. But unfortunately, it was just bees. So I don't think that the Israelis are going to take bees as a sign. I don't think that they've taken every nation in the world turning against them, except for one group of really, really uneducated people. The more I study, the more I study dispensationalism, the idea that we need Israel, the more I realize, holy smokes. There's something very, very, very wrong here, folks. The Jews hate us. Hate us. And we're taught not to hate anybody. But I don't think they get that lesson. I think that it's totally like 100%, everything Ari, cool, no worries, mate, kind of thing with them. Like, yeah, we hate anybody we want. And basically, to sum up, they hate everybody. So that's the reason I'm not sure that this peace deal is going to hold, because they're look, will they do a false flag when everybody's waiting for them to do a false flag, even though it's pretty obvious they're doing a false flag? Yeah, of course they will. But you can manage AI summaries in my settings. I can do that. I didn't know I could do that. I'd like to just shut off the AI and the people listening. Oh, by the way, TikTok shop. If you're not buying it at the TikTok shop, you're not fucking buying it. That's the bottom line. Superstar 555, the Canadian flag, is a rising star in your live. What does that mean? A rising star? Like, you're listening more carefully? All right. Hey, I'm not one to judge. I'm from California. Hell, my babysitters when I was a kid were a gay couple. Harry and I don't remember his husband's name, wife. I don't remember. Harry was so normal. You can't tell like what role he played because there was no. Like, he was just a normal dude. I mean, he's a hippie, had long hair, smoked weed back when you could go to prison for 20 years for having a joint. But cool dudes. They were cool. They were very cool. All right, so let's talk about this real quick. The war was a tie. This is the first time in history that major nations, like when I say major nations, 100 million or more, and 93 million, fuck it, let's round up, let's just call them 100 million people in Iran. 100 million people in Iran, 300 plus million in the United States. We go head to head, and after 6 weeks of war, we tied. Not timed out. I know you think, hey, that's a timeout symbol. It used to be the timeout symbol. I'm changing it. We tied. That is the first time in the history of the world the two major nations have fought to a standstill and called it a tie. And by the way, our blockade of the blockade unblockaded the Straits of Hormuz. So the next time you're wondering, can you have sex to become a virgin again? Apparently you can. Apparently you can. And so that's just the world we live in right now, which is why I say we won. They are just trying to control the channel. If they don't, we go back to bombing. You realize they're actually charging fees right now, John. Like, that's all over the place. It's common knowledge that they're charging ships to go through. So they won that part. Like, they won flat out. Now, we went in to a country at a time when the Straits of Hormuz were completely open. Nobody controlled the Straits of Hormuz. Traffic flowed through there completely unimpeded for the last several thousand years. We bombed the fuck out of them, spent 58 billion dollars. And now the Straits of Hormuz are closed, except if you pay Iran, because they are now de facto in control of it. You have a son that is a Marine, other son is Navy. I don't see what that has to do with it. I was in the Marine Corps, so what? Are you telling me that they're not that the guys that are on ship right now are not being starved? Because I've seen what they're eating. You probably haven't, but it's not food. It is disgusting. Now, the last time this happened was during the Gulf War, and I called John McCain. I called his office directly and said, I know that as a Navy man yourself, you would never let the amount of food on our ships get so low that my Marines have to skip meals. And my buddy, who was still on a Navy ship, called me a couple of months later and said, dude, did you make a phone call or something? I said, yeah, I did. Why? And he said, well, because about a week later, we started getting real chow again. So that's my story about John McCain. And yes, it was good. He wasn't aware that they were giving Marines shit food on board ships during the Gulf War. They were. They always do. Marines are always the first ones to get screwed out of everything and have to make do with virtually nothing. And we always do. And that's why they plan on it. So Honestly, the slab of meat, and I assume that's what it was. I don't know. Honestly, when I first saw it, the first thing that went through my mind was that looks like an ingot of lead. I mean, I've seen lead ingots. And I thought, why in the hell is there an ingot of lead sitting like it was long and rounded on the edges and bubbles in the middle that were darker? And I thought, that looks like slag on top of lead. Why do they have it sitting on a food tray? And then I looked at the food tray. There was a blob of something next to it that was brown, that was completely impossible. I couldn't tell you what it was, honestly. No shit. I looked at it very carefully, trying to figure out, like, is that it was maybe a vegetable of some kind? I couldn't tell. And then the last thing, I forget what the last thing was, but the reason I forget is because it was identifiable. It was like, I want to say it was like a cup of applesauce or something. It was just one of the little cups that you rip the lid off of. And the lid was torn off, and it was just sitting up in one of the, you know how they have the two and then the one big compartment down below. The silver ingot, lead ingot, whatever it was, I assume it was supposed to be some type of meat. I don't know. But I know that they said that that is what you get per day right now on most of the ships. And this is the ships that the Marines are on, and that's what they're eating. It's exactly what it sounds like. And to me, you know, they're like the reason that they feed the Navy so well, especially submariners, is because it's the only thing you've got. When you're out to sea, you know, you don't get a lot of morale boosters, you know? So food is sort of the morale booster. It's like, all right, I had a hard day. I'm exhausted. I got to go to sleep in a rack with this much headspace. You know, I'm staring directly at another guy's ass or whatever. And this is not a fun place to be. But damn, the bacon, eggs, and hash browns were good just this morning, you know? And I'm looking forward to a big ass cup of coffee. So that makes sense. The fact that my Marines are not getting mail right now, and that's been reported. I don't know if your son, either one of them, has said anything about that. What's happening, Roadstar? So, but this is, you know, when most people hear that my Marines aren't getting mail, it's like they're not getting mail. Well, that sucks. They don't get to read love letters from the girls that are at home cheating on them. You know, it's trust me, before you get all crazy in the comments. Well, that's not the way women think. Well, shut up. I was in the Marine Corps. Okay, I know. Jody's with your girl right now. Susie, you know what to call her. If you know, you know. And so Susie and Jody are just banging away right now, having a great old time. And he's probably proposed to her already. She just doesn't want to tell you because she doesn't want to stress you out because you're deployed. She's going to wait to get home and find your apartment's empty. So here's my point. I don't care if somebody doesn't send me a love letter. Okay? I mean, it'd be great. It's a morale booster, you know? I never got a love letter in the Marine Corps. I did get a breakup letter once. That sucked. But mail in general is not mail, okay? Just so you're clear, mail is protein powder, protein bars, baby wipes, cigarettes, Zins, chewing tobacco. Oh, yeah, you don't get tobacco on the ship. The U.S. Navy doesn't support your habit. You want to smoke, designated areas, designated times, and buy your own shit. Well, guess what? If you've been deployed and you're not getting mail, that means you can't have your mom, your girlfriend, your best friend, your buddy down the street, whatever, send you a carton of cigarettes. Now, take your happy ass with your nicotine addiction and just stress yourself out. when I say stress yourself out, I mean about once a day, you ask yourself, am I going to live for the next 20 minutes? Because the shit hits a fan. Somebody spots a drone on the radar, somebody sees a missile, whatever. Maybe it's not coming towards you. Maybe you don't even have to take countermeasures. But something goes off and everybody goes bananas. Now your pulse is 145. Your adrenaline spiked all to hell. And when it comes down to the fact that you knocked it out of the sky 100 miles over the horizon, or B, it never existed, all of a sudden now you have this adrenaline dump that gives you a banging fucking headache, and you don't have a smoke. I smoked in the Marine Corps because I figured, what the fuck? We're all dying of lead poisoning. We're not going to die of old age. If you're in the Marine Corps, you're going to die of lead poisoning, baby. And if you don't know what I mean by that, then God bless you. You're a civilian. You're in the first Civ Div, and you need to stay there. But my point is that we didn't expect to live long enough to die of cancer. So we all smoked. I remember the first time I wanted a cigarette. I was in the brig. Yes, I know. Perfect angel. Big and corn fed. In the brig. Wasn't the first. Wasn't the last. But on this fateful Saturday night, I was sitting on the back stairs because our brigs are, we got real brigs, like real like jails. And then we got the brig for the dipshits who do something dumb like me and get an NJP or whatever. It's not a real jail. It's an old, like 2-3 story barracks with a fence around it. If you want to go jump the fence, you're a Marine, you can get over that fence in under a second and a half. But then you're in real trouble. So just shut up and go sit at the picnic table with the other dumbasses, have a cigarette. So I said to the guy sitting on the back stairs, the fire stairs down the back of the building, I said, hey man, let's things give you a buzz. And he said, well, do you smoke? I said, no, never. He goes, oh yeah, they'll give you a buzz, all right. And I said, do you mind if I get one off you? He goes, yeah, man, if you want. He pulled out a menthol cigarette and handed it to me. He lit it for me, and I took a puff and a few more puffs, and I thought, I don't feel much. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel a little something, but it's not much. And then I tried to stand up, and then damn near fell down the stairs. That's when you realize, like, whoa, these things got a kick. So, of course, all the stuff they put in it to make it kickier, but my point is this. There's only one reason you don't get mail. Okay? If you were in the Marine Corps or the Army, I don't think the Air Force has ever had this issue, ever. Unless you're a PJ or something, but I don't think the Air Force has ever had this situation. But if you're in the Marine Corps and you're not getting mail, it's because it's unsafe for them to fly your mail to the ship. An aircraft that's not an offensive weapon is in danger, so they just don't take that chance. Which, of course, makes you wonder when the United States says, oh yeah, we control the skies. And then why aren't you delivering mail to the thousands of Marines? Thousands of those Marines smoke or chew, and they're stressed out as hell. And man, they could really use a cigarette right about now. Now, I can tell you this. There are guys on board those ships who have smokes. Absolutely no question about it. And they will probably be very wealthy someday because they're probably charging $10 a pop. Maybe they're writing down, for their shipmates, the guys that they know really well. They're writing down, all right, they'll give you 3, you give me a pack. Yeah, that's what's going on. So I wouldn't say that we won the conflict because we've spent, I don't know, the better half of $100 billion. The Straits of Hormuz were open before, and now they're clearly not completely open. They're open as long as you pay the Iranians. Well, you didn't have to pay the Iranians before the war. Oh, okay. And Iran's selling oil? Yeah. Yep, they're selling oil. Did they ever have to really stop selling oil? No, 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 they didn't. But what about the blockade we put on them? Well, they just sold their oil to China. Why does that matter? Because we're sure as shit not going to blockade China. So once it was sold to China, China said, hey, this isn't their oil anymore. We paid for it. So you're not blockading us, are you, Trump? And Trump said, oh, no, I wouldn't imagine. Never. Go ahead, go through. SIGs don't even come close to what you're saying. As far as currency or importance, I'm not sure what you're saying there. What about uranium? I don't think anybody really cares. Oh, price. No, no, no. I'm not talking about usually. Usually it's like, hey, you give me a pack and I'll give you a pack back when I get paid, that kind of thing. There's usually no VIG at all. But I'm telling you right now, they haven't gotten mail, dude. 20 years in the Navy. When was the last time you were on board a ship without a mail call for 2 months? No mail call. What the fuck? What do you think? What do you imagine the VIG is on cigarettes or anything else right now? These poor bastards have no protein powder. They got no baby wipes. They got nothing ever. Never. Right. You're saying you've never gone that long without mail call. That's my point, man. Like, we're fucking these guys. The logistics were completely not even thought of for a moment before we did this. And now we've got all these logistics problems. Look, man, logistics is how you win. They're sold on the ship. Okay, you're gonna have to explain that one to me. Then why are these Marines screaming about not being able to get them on ship? I don't know. I was only on ship for 2 weeks. Not even that. Week and a half. Sea rats. You just dated yourself, you fucking boomer. That's funny. They don't have sea rats anymore. They switched. They went from sea rats to MREs, meals, ready to eat. I think they might even call them something different now. Wait, hold on. All right, well, we still have meals ready to eat. Apparently, these are still active. And what are these? What's this? No, they're still MREs, man. Now, you notice that these two are different. This one's all open and mushy, and this one's like sucked in. Oh, 82 through 89 was better than eating dog. I am outstanding, Paulina. I couldn't ask for much more than this. Now, you know what? I got to open this. I'm curious. What is this? Does it say? Oh, Department of Defense. Beef goulash. Holy shit! There's some wholesome Hungarian food right there. Beef goulash. Does it say some hokey shit on here too? Yep, it sure does. Warfighter recommended. Warfighter tested. Warfighter approved. That ain't propaganda, motherfucker. That's the real deal right there. This is better than your mama's milk when you're 8 months old. Testify. That's bullshit. Those taste bad. Those little tiny Tabasco sauces were the only reason that anybody stayed in the Marine Corps after boot camp. Because the first time you ate anything, you went, this isn't what we eat, right? Now, of course, it's changed because there's no such thing as Marine Corps food anymore. Now that it's all, first civ div. Now that we've got, Burger King or whatever it is. God. Yeah, I feel bad for those guys because they're just sitting there waiting. They had their surf and turf. Shit, they had their surf and turf like a month ago now. And you don't get your surf and turf until you're ready to go in. Like everybody knows, you get surf and turf, you get steak and lobster. It's kind of like your last meal. And so they had their surf and turf weeks and weeks ago. I remember hearing about it weeks ago and thinking, well, that's it. We're going in. Of course, PSYOP? I don't know. It could have been. Would have been a pretty clever PSYOP, really, if you think about it. Like if all war fighters know that, hey, look, when I get surf and turf, it means I'm about to go wheels up, and then you get surf and turf, the enemy's going to go, uh-oh. Everybody take a deep breath. That's all I can think of. So, if the war is over, great. Silver will be at 150 before you know it. Thank God. Whew. Yeah, we're still going into a recession now. The world is still in deep shit financially for the next year or two, but we'll be okay. It all works itself out. And in the meantime, they're going to print tons of money. They're going to try to print our way out of this, which is absolutely outstanding for silver and gold. Wow. What a crazy time to be in boot camp during the Gulf of Tonkin. Well, they say spots at 81, but it's actually 91 to buy it from most places. It's not that expensive for me, so if you want to buy it from me, you'll get a lot better deal. And by the way, my info is up there on my channel, and you can buy my book now. You just go to the Big and Corn Fed homepage, and it's right on there. You press the little thing, takes you right to it. And believe me, you're going to want this book. I decided to go a little bit more into some of the things that normally I would reserve because it's not necessary. Well, see, that's the problem. I think it is necessary to really give people the full disclosure on what this could look like. I think it's important to be honest. And there's a very fine line between honest and damn, that's depressing. Because I don't want people to be depressed and go, well, fuck it. I mean, what's the point? What's the point? I'm not going to make it. Yeah, you are. Yes, you will. You will make it if you decide you're going to make it. That's what it boils down to. All those stupid, successories posters from the 90s, your attitude determines your altitude, or my favorite, which I actually made up myself, which is teamwork makes the scheme work. That's for all the bankers in the world who continually make really bad decisions and then get our tax money for free to bail them out. Private equity. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, we're in such incredibly deep shit financially that you need to own silver. Just believe me when I say you have to own silver. If you don't own silver, you're going to regret it. And hey, you want to play with the S&P 500 index? God bless you. You just better know what you're doing. If you decide that you want to go out there and make a ton of money in the stock market, just understand that if you're a certified financial planner and you work for TD Ameritrade, and you sit on your happy ass all day taking phone calls from investors who you then put into the plans that have been offered to you to put them in, you don't actually know what the hell you're doing. And if you made a bunch of money, let's say in the 90s or in the early 2000s, right after the market crash, because that's when you put money in, great. If you're that guy who came of age just after the market totally got trashed in 2008, and you think that because you bought in 2009, you're a genius and it'll never go down, you're going to learn a very hard lesson, and you're going to learn it at a time that you cannot afford to learn lessons. And that time is right before retirement. Look, you fuck it up, you lose all your money at 28. What do? You whine, you complain, you bitch, you gripe. You get up, you dust yourself off, do a lot of homework, and then go straight back at it. You get after it again. And that time you've got a much better chance. And if you lose it again when you're 40, you go, God damn it. It's the second time in my life that's happened. Okay. You're this close to being rich because now you see the pattern. And if you're 50 and you just got lucky, you put money in 2010, and boy, it's just been a hell of a fun ride ever since. And that one thing with the COVID, that was that little 5-week drop of 40%. Boy, that was scary. But, hey, that still, it shows the market never goes down, not for long. Okay. But I'm telling you right now, I've been watching the stock market, in the stock market, as a, look, I had a Series 7, Series 63, member of the National Association of Securities Dealers back before a lot of people watching this were born. And I know you're thinking, damn, how do you look so good if you're that old? I don't know. Genetics, that's something. So, but let's just say that I've been doing this shit since the 80s and just leave it at that. But I do remember the crash of 87 because I was working that day. And I remember that the stock market crashed, and it was the last time Iran declared war on us. It was in 1987. We attacked a couple of their offshore oil rigs, and they declared war on us. And the next day it was over. So it wasn't much of a war. It lasted, I don't know, about 4 hours. So, and that was the last time we had a dust up with those folks. Now, we've been at war ever since in the Middle East, but that's not because of us. That's because of our masters, that little country. The little country. So anyway, all right, guys, well, it's Friday night, and I'm going to go Friday night. That's what I'm going to do. And in the meantime, if you're going to buy this, wait, hold on, let me get the light just right. Silver. If you're going to be buying silver, you should at least buy it from me. And the reason is it's cheaper. Now, I don't make a hell of a lot of money on silver, which is fine. Wow. I didn't turn that on. That's not good. Maybe it's listening to me. Anyway, let's talk tomorrow or Sunday. And buy the book. You can go here, buy the book. HowTube. Go to HowTube and you can buy the book. Not hard. I'll see you guys soon.